I was uninvited from my childhood best friend's wedding because of my ex. The real reason behind it left me shocked and changed my life forever. I never thought I'd be writing a post like this, but here I am. My best friend Jennifer, 28F, and I, 29F, have known each other since we were in diapers. Our moms, Sarah and Rachel, were college roommates who stayed close after graduation. They even ended up living on the same street when they started their families. So Jennifer and I basically grew up as sisters. We shared everything growing up. I remember our first day of kindergarten. Jennifer was so scared she cried, and I held her hand the whole way there. In middle school, we had our first crushes on the same boy, Tommy, but we made a pact to never let a guy come between us. We kept that promise through high school, supporting each other through awkward first dates and painful breakups. When it came time for college, we decided to go to different schools. It was hard being apart after 18 years of living down the street from each other, but we made it work. We called each other every night, visited on weekends when we could, and spent every holiday together. Our friendship only grew stronger despite the distance. After college, we both moved back to our hometown and got our first apartments. We were so excited to be living in the same city again, even if we weren't on the same street anymore. We had weekly movie nights, went on double dates together, and were always each other's plus ones at work events. It was at one of these work events, about 5 years ago, that I met Kent, 30M. He was charming, funny, and seemed to hit it off with both Jennifer and me. We exchanged numbers, and a few days later, he asked me out. I was hesitant at first. I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship and wasn't sure if I was ready to date again. But Jennifer encouraged me to give it a shot, saying I deserved to be happy. Our first date was magical. We went to a little Italian restaurant downtown, and the conversation flowed so easily. Kent was attentive and kind, asking thoughtful questions about my life and my dreams. We ended up talking for hours, long after our plates had been cleared. When he kissed me goodnight, I felt butterflies I hadn't experienced in years. Over the next few months, Kent became a fixture in my life. He got along great with all my friends, especially Jennifer. The three of us would often hang out together, watching movies or trying new restaurants. Kent even helped Jennifer move into her new apartment, spending an entire Saturday lugging boxes and assembling furniture. For the first 2 years, everything was perfect. Kent was supportive of my career, always encouraging me to go after promotions and celebrate my successes. He remembered little details about things I liked and would surprise me with my favorite flowers or a book by an author I'd mentioned. We talked about our future together, even started looking at houses in the suburbs. But then things started to change. It was subtle at first. Kent started working later, saying he had big projects at the office. He'd cancel our date nights, claiming he was too tired from work. When we did spend time together, he was often distracted, constantly checking his phone. I tried to talk to him about it, but he'd just brush it off, saying I was being paranoid. He'd remind me of how stressful his job was and how I needed to be more understanding. I started to doubt myself, wondering if I was just being needy and insecure. Jennifer was my rock during this time. She listened to my concerns, offered advice, and always had a pint of ice cream ready when I needed to vent. She even suggested that maybe Kent was cheating, but I didn't want to believe it. I thought we were stronger than that. Fast forward to about a year and a half ago. I had a work trip scheduled for a week, but it got cut short due to some last-minute changes. I decided to surprise Kent by coming home early. I stopped by a flower shop, picked up his favorite takeout, and headed home with butterflies in my stomach, excited to see him. When I opened the door to our apartment, I heard noises coming from the bedroom. My heart sank as I walked down the hallway. I pushed open the bedroom door to find Kent in our bed with another woman. The flowers fell from my hand as I stood there, frozen in shock. Kent scrambled to explain, saying it was a one-time thing, that it didn't mean anything. But as I stood there, watching him fumble for excuses, I realized this wasn't the man I had fallen in love with. This wasn't the future I wanted. I told Kent to get out. He begged me to reconsider, to give him another chance, but my mind was made up. I watched as he packed a bag, still trying to convince me it was all a misunderstanding. When the door closed behind him, I collapsed on the floor and cried. The next week was a blur. Jennifer came over as soon as I called her, armed with wine, ice cream, and tissues. She helped me pack up Kent's things, change the locks on my apartment, and stayed with me every night, holding me as I cried myself to sleep. Over the next few months, Jennifer was my biggest supporter. She helped me get back on my feet, encouraged me to focus on my career, and even set me up on a few dates, which didn't go anywhere, but I appreciated the effort. She was there for every step of my healing process, from the angry phase where we burned Kent's leftover t-shirts in her backyard, to the sad phase where we watched rom-coms and cried together. I started to feel like myself again. I threw myself into work, earning a promotion I'd been eyeing for a while. I started going to the gym regularly, not to get a revenge body, but because it made me feel strong and confident. I even took up painting, something I had always wanted to try but never had the time for when I was with Kent. About 6 months after the breakup, Jennifer introduced me to her new boyfriend, Tyler, 29M. He seemed like a great guy, kind, funny, and clearly head over heels for Jennifer. I was genuinely happy for her, even if a small part of me felt a twinge of envy at their obvious happiness. They got engaged just 3 months later, which seemed a bit fast to me. But Jennifer was over the moon, so I pushed aside my concerns and threw myself into helping her plan the wedding. We spent weekends looking at venues, tasting cakes, and trying on dresses. It felt like old times, and I was so grateful to have my best friend back. Everything was going great until last month when Jennifer asked me to meet her for coffee. She seemed nervous, which was unusual for her. After some small talk about wedding plans, she dropped a bombshell on me. Kent was now dating her younger sister, Deborah, 25F, and had been for the past 4 months. I was shocked, to say the least. Deborah and I had always gotten along well. She was like a little sister to me, too. How could she date my ex, knowing what he'd done to me? And how could Jennifer keep this from me for so long? But that wasn't even the worst part. Jennifer then told me that she didn't want me to come to her wedding anymore. She said that Kent and Deborah would be there, and she didn't want any drama on her big day. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My best friend of 28 years was uninviting me from her wedding because of my cheating ex-boyfriend? I tried to reason with her, saying that I could be civil and that Kent's presence wouldn't be an issue. But Jennifer wouldn't budge. She said that Deborah had threatened not to come if I was there, and she couldn't have her sister miss her wedding. I was hurt, angry, and felt completely betrayed. I left the coffee shop in tears, feeling like I'd lost not just my best friend, but a part of my family. Jennifer has tried to call and text me since then, saying she wants to talk things out, but I've been ignoring her. I just can't bring myself to face her right now. Am I overreacting? Should I try to patch things up with Jennifer for the sake of our long friendship? Or is this the final straw? I'm lost and could really use some advice. Update 1. It's been about a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented and offered support. Your kind words and advice really helped me get through some tough days. After taking some time to process everything, I decided to meet with Jennifer. We agreed to meet at Franklin Park, the same park we used to play in as kids. As I walked towards our old favorite spot by the duck pond, memories flooded back. I remembered countless summer days spent here. Jennifer and I chasing each other around the playground, having picnics with our families, and later, as teenagers, sitting on the swings and talking about boys and our dreams for the future. Jennifer was already there when I arrived, sitting on a bench and nervously fidgeting with her engagement ring. The conversation was tense at first. We sat in awkward silence for a few minutes before Jennifer finally spoke up. She apologized for blindsiding me with the news about Kent and Deborah, and for uninviting me from the wedding. She admitted that she had handled the situation poorly, and that she had been torn between her loyalty to me and her sister. However, she stood by her decision to have Kent and Deborah at the wedding instead of me. I told her how hurt I was, not just by the uninvitation, but by the fact that she had kept Kent and Deborah's relationship a secret for months. I reminded her of all the times we had promised to always be honest with each other, no matter what. The time in 6th grade when she told me my new haircut looked terrible, or in high school when I convinced her not to run away with her boyfriend. We had always been brutally honest with each other, and this secret felt like a betrayal of that trust. During our conversation, Jennifer revealed something that made everything even more complicated. Apparently, Kent had been the one to introduce Jennifer to her fiancé, Tyler. They had been co-workers for years, and Kent had set them up shortly after our breakup. This information made me question everything. Had Kent been planning to leave me for Deborah all along? Was his friendship with Tyler the real reason he was always working late? I thought back to all those nights when Kent came home late, claiming he had been at work. Had he really been out with Tyler, planning to set him up with my best friend? The thought made me feel sick. Jennifer swore she had no idea about Kent's cheating when he introduced her to Tyler, and despite everything, I believe her. The look in her eyes was sincere, and I know Jennifer well enough to know when she's lying. But it still feels like a betrayal, knowing that her happiness is indirectly linked to my pain. We talked for hours, rehashing old memories and trying to figure out where we go from here. Jennifer said she still wants me in her life, but understands if I need space. She even offered to uninvite Kent and Deborah from the wedding, but I told her not to do that. As much as it hurts, I don't want to be the reason for a rift between her and her sister. For now, I've decided to take a step back from our friendship. I told Jennifer I need time to process everything and figure out if I can move past this. She seemed sad but understanding. As we said goodbye, we hugged, and for a moment it felt like old times. But as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that things would never be the same between us. In the meantime, I've been focusing on myself. I've thrown myself into work, taking on new projects and staying late at the office. It's been a welcome distraction. I've also started taking a painting class at the local community center. It's something I've always wanted to try, and it's been therapeutic, having something to pour my emotions into. I've been working on a series of abstract paintings, each one representing a different emotion I've been grappling with: anger, betrayal, sadness, but also hope and resilience. My instructor says I have a natural talent, which has been a nice boost to my self-esteem. I've also reached out to some other friends I had somewhat neglected during my friendship with Jennifer. There's Maria, my college roommate who I used to be super close with, but lost touch with over the years. We've been meeting up for coffee regularly, and it's been nice to reconnect. Then there's Tom, a coworker who's always been friendly but who I never really got to know outside of work. We've started going to trivia nights at a local bar, and I'm surprised by how much fun I'm having. And it's been nice building a support system that doesn't revolve around just one person. I'm realizing that while Jennifer was a huge part of my life, she doesn't have to be my whole life. As for the wedding, I'm still not going. Even if Jennifer were to reinvite me, I think it would be too painful to attend. I've sent her a card congratulating her and Tyler, along with a small gift, a framed photo of us as kids, playing in that same park where we had our talk. It feels like the right thing to do, given our history, even if our future is uncertain. I'm still hurting, but I'm also feeling stronger. I realize now that I had put too much of my identity into my friendship with Jennifer and my relationship with Kent. This whole experience, as painful as it's been, has forced me to stand on my own 2 feet and rediscover who I am outside of these relationships. Thank you again for all your support. I'll update again if anything significant changes. Update 2. It's been about 3 months since my last update, and things have taken an unexpected turn. I hadn't spoken to Jennifer since our meeting in the park, focusing instead on my own life and healing. But last week, I received a call that changed everything. It was Tyler, Jennifer's fiancé. He asked if we could meet in person to talk about something important. Curious and a bit apprehensive, I agreed. We met at the same cafe where Jennifer had first told me about uninviting me from the wedding. Tyler looked tired and stressed, with dark circles under his eyes. After some awkward small talk, he dropped a bombshell. He had recently discovered that Kent and Jennifer had been having an affair for the past year. He found out when he overheard a conversation between Jennifer and Deborah, where Jennifer was confessing everything. Apparently, Kent had been playing all of us. He was still seeing Jennifer while dating Deborah, and both of them thought they were the only one. The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. All this time, while I had been mourning the loss of my best friend and trying to come to terms with her betrayal, she had been betraying me in an even worse way. Tyler was understandably devastated. He had called off the engagement and wanted me to know the truth. He apologized for his part in everything, even though he was as much a victim as I was. We sat there for a while, both trying to process this new information. After the initial shock wore off, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, hurt, but also an odd sense of relief. It was like the final piece of a puzzle falling into place, explaining all the inconsistencies and strange behavior over the past year. After processing this information, I decided to reach out to Deborah. Despite everything, I felt she deserved to know the truth. We met up at a local park, neutral ground for both of us. When I told her what Tyler had told me, she broke down crying. She was heartbroken, but grateful that I had been honest with her. During our conversation, Deborah revealed something that made me even angrier with Jennifer. She told me that she had never actually threatened not to come to the wedding if I was there. That had been a lie Jennifer told to justify uninviting me. Deborah apologized for dating Kent, saying she had no idea about his history of cheating or his ongoing relationship with Jennifer. As we talked, I found myself feeling a strange kinship with Deborah. We had both been betrayed by people we trusted, both been pawns in Kent and Jennifer's twisted game. By the end of our conversation, we had exchanged numbers, promising to keep in touch and support each other through this mess. As for Jennifer, she's been trying to contact both Tyler and me, but we've both decided to keep our distance. The betrayal runs too deep, and the trust is completely shattered. I've blocked her number and social media accounts, needing to protect myself from any more of her lies. This whole situation has been a whirlwind of emotions, but I'm surprisingly okay. Finding out about Jennifer's betrayal hurt, but it also provided a kind of closure. I no longer have to question my worth or wonder if I did something wrong. The problem was never me. It was Kent and Jennifer's dishonesty. I'm grateful to Tyler for having the integrity to tell me the truth, and I'm glad Deborah and I were able to clear the air between us. We're not friends, but we're no longer enemies either. We've even met up a few times for coffee, finding comfort in our shared experience. As for me, I'm continuing to focus on my own growth. The painting class I mentioned in my last update has become a real passion. I've even started selling some of my work online, which has been both exciting and scary. My instructor has encouraged me to submit some pieces to a local art fair, and I'm seriously considering it. This experience has taught me a lot about self-worth and the importance of surrounding myself with honest, genuine people. While I'm still healing, I'm also excited about what the future holds. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm truly in control of my own life and happiness. I've been spending more time with the new friends I mentioned in my last update. Maria and I have started a book club, and Tom and I still go to trivia nights. These new friendships feel refreshing and uncomplicated, which is exactly what I need right now. As for my career, I've been excelling at work. My boss recently praised me for my dedication and innovative ideas. There's even talk of a possible promotion in the near future. It feels good to be recognized for my hard work, especially after everything that's happened in my personal life. I know there's still a long road ahead in terms of healing and moving on. But for now, I'm taking it one day at a time, focusing on the things that bring me joy and the people who truly care about me. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm happy to report that life has taken a positive turn. The art fair I mentioned in my last update was a success beyond my wildest dreams. I sold several paintings and even got commissioned for a few more. This unexpected turn of events has led me to seriously consider pursuing art as more than just a hobby. I've set up a small studio in my spare room, transforming it from a storage space into a creative haven. The walls are covered with canvases in various stages of completion, and the smell of paint has become a comforting constant in my life. I've been experimenting with different styles and techniques, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. It's been both challenging and exhilarating. As for the personal drama, things have settled down. I haven't heard from Jennifer since everything came to light, and honestly, I'm okay with that. The hurt has faded, replaced by a sense of gratitude for the lessons learned and the strength I've discovered within myself. I still have moments where I miss our friendship, but I've come to accept that sometimes relationships end, and that's okay. Deborah and I have kept in touch. We're not best friends, but we've developed a kind of camaraderie born from our shared experience. She's been focusing on her career and seems to be doing well. We meet up for coffee every now and then, and it's nice to see how we've both grown from this experience. Tyler reached out to me last month. He's doing better and thanked me again for my honesty throughout this whole ordeal. We've met up for coffee a couple of times, and it's been nice to have someone who understands exactly what I've been through. There's no romantic interest there, just a mutual respect and understanding. As for Kent, I heard through the grapevine that he moved to another city for a job. I find I don't really care what he's doing anymore. He no longer has any power over my emotions or my life. The biggest news, though, is that I've decided to take a leap of faith. With the money I've saved and earned from my art, I'm planning to take a sabbatical from my job and travel for a few months. I want to experience new cultures, meet new people, and hopefully find inspiration for my art. I'm starting in Europe, a month in Italy to study Renaissance art, then off to France to explore the Impressionist movement. From there, who knows? I'm leaving my plans open, ready to follow wherever inspiration takes me. This whole experience, as painful as it was, has shown me the importance of being true to myself and not letting others dictate my worth or happiness. I'm excited about this new chapter in my life and the adventures that lie ahead. My mom, who's been incredibly supportive throughout this whole ordeal, told me something the other day that really stuck with me. She said, "Sometimes the most beautiful paintings come from the darkest experiences." I think she's right. While I wouldn't wish what I went through on anyone, I can see now how it's shaped me into a stronger, more authentic version of myself. As I pack my bags and prepare for this new adventure, I can't help but feel a sense of excitement and hope. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm truly looking forward to finding out. And thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your kind words and advice have meant more than you know. Here's to new beginnings and the beautiful art that can come from even the most challenging experiences.